Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Six Path Sage Mode's Healer Guide for Dragonhold DLC. Today I'll be going over skills, CP, gear, Mundus Stone, and rotation. Let's get started, shall we? So, for our main 5-piece body, we go Hollow Fang. Simply for the amazing magical regen it gives every time you critically heal an ally or critically damage a target. It also applies minor viability to you and your allies within 6 meters of the ball, which increases healing received by 8%. It has a 1-second cooldown, as this can happen every 9 seconds. Our second 5-piece is a valuable Aether, simply for the debuff every time you heavy attack and add a mob or a boss. The heavy attack will apply minor vulnerability for 10 seconds, increasing damage taken by 8%. Now, a lot of people will tell you wardens already have this buff, which is great if you have a warden running with you that knows how to use that buff. If not, I suggest keeping IA on your bar. The monster set we use is Symphony of Blades. It gives healing done, and when you heal an ally that is under 50% of their primary resource, you regen a total of 14,000 magical or stamina over 6 seconds. However, this has an 18-second cooldown. So between your main 5-piece, your monster set, and your restoration staff, you are constantly regenerating resources for the group like crazy. Speaking of restoration staffs, we use the Master Restoration Staff, simply because every initial heal of Grand Healing or Illustrious Healing, you regen 100 magic or stamina every 1 second for 4 seconds. Very useful, even though it got nerfed a few patches ago. Let's talk about skills next. Honor the Dead, a huge burst heal. Mine's almost 11,000. If you build right, you can get up over 11 to 12,000 burst heal. We use this over Honor the Dead simply because every time you heal someone who is below 75% health, you restore 60% of the skill's cost. Next, we use Illustrious Healing. We use this over Healing Springs because Healing Springs got nerfed a few patches ago. So this ability is a couple hundred to a few hundred stronger than Healing Springs. Radiant Regeneration. In this case, we use this because it's a huge heal over 10 seconds. It is also your spammable heal. We use this over Mutagen because, again, Mutagen got nerfed. Energy Orb. This is a resource restore and healing ability all in one. You can use this over Luminous Shards or Blazing Shards because this is a bigger, stronger heal and regens more resources. Combat Prayer. This is going to be a spammable ability as well. Every time it hits an ally in its path, it grants minor Berserk and minor Resolve, increasing damage done by 8%. It also gives you a nice little increase on physical and spell resistance. The ultimate for this healing mod, Reviving Barrier. We use this as a survivability ability, simply because it's a huge damage shield over 30 seconds, and it also heals while it's active. Moving on to the destruction bar, your back bar. Power of the Light. use this simply because every enemy or boss hit with this gets minor fracture and minor breach against them for 9 seconds. So if you have a tank that has major breach and major fracture, you are helping the group DPS out significantly. Next, Elemental Drain or Ele Drain. Most of us already know why we use this. This gives major breach for 23 seconds and gives a nice little minor magicka steal for 23 seconds. So it's a resource regen and a debuff ability. Extended Ritual. I prefer this ability over Cleanse or Purge because not only is it cheaper than Cleanse or Purge, but when your allies activate the synergy, it cleanses them of all negative effects and heals them for a good chunk of health. It also removes 5 negative effects from you immediately and healing you and allies for 2312 health every 2 seconds for 24 seconds. That is a huge heal. You do not get that with Purge or Cleanse. Channel Focus. This one is pretty self-explanatory. We use this to increase our physical and spell resistance and recover magicka. Blockade of Storms. The only reason you use this ability is for the off-balance of grants. You must be using a lightning staff for this ability to go off balance. Aggressive Warhorn. We all know why we use Aggressive Warhorn. This gives major force, increasing critical damage by 15% for 10 seconds. Let's move on to CP. Start in the red side with Ironclad. 30 points into that. Then we go to the Lady, 50 points in Light Armor Focus, and 75 points into Elemental Defender and Hardy. We do this to make your healer more tanky and be able to survive a lot better. Next we do Quick Recovery. If you're in a group situation, a trial situation, you'll increase your healing received from the other healer. Warlord, 23 points into cost to break free. Arcanist, 100 points to increase magic recovery and 75 points to increase resource restore from heavy attacks. We move over to the Shadow, go to Tumbling. It reduces the cost of dodge roll by 12%. And then we go to Shadow Ward, which will reduce the cost of block. Next we go Blessed, 100 points for an increased 15% of healing. Then Elfborn, 72. Elemental Expert, 50. And for giggles, 26 points into Spell Immersion. Then we go to Staff Expert, 22 points to increase your damage on light and heavy attacks. And that's the last of my CP. Now, rotation. Let's talk rotation. In every encounter, the first thing you're going to do is throw down your extended ritual and then your channel focus. After you've done that, you'll Ele drain the ads or boss or whatever you're fighting, Power of the Light. You'll go Blockade of Storms for off balance. You'll switch to your restoration, a couple of illustrious healing, some of the mutagen. Throw out an orb occasionally. You'll want to get combat prayer every 10-15 seconds. And if you need it for the emergency burst heal, press 1. Now, moving on to Mundus Stones. I used the ritual for an increased 15% healing done wearing 7 divines. Food. I use Witch Mother's Potent Brew. Gives magic recovery, max magic, and max health. You could use a blue food that does max health, max magicka, but I like the nice recovery Witch Mother's gives. And as for race, we choose an Argonia, simply for the healing passives and the potion passives. And you get, like I said, you get an increased healing. Even though it got nerfed, it's still very powerful. You get some resistances, and you get max magic, and the potion passive, which I mentioned, is very useful. You could also go Breton for magicka, sustain, and reduced costs. But I prefer Argonian. Okay. Well, everybody, thank you for watching my video. If you have a question or comment, please comment below. And if you like the video, subscribe.